situation you want with a runner on third and always one out. They never ask how many outs. It's always we're moving, we're in our flow, and it's always runner on third, one out. And when I think about what I did, I would probably say we did that probably 60% of the time because it was unpredictable. Doug knows there's a phrase, train ugly. And the reason I love that is because I never knew what situations were going to pop up, and neither did they. Right, so instead of saying, hey, second and third, one out, right, like now they don't have to have any retrieval process. They don't have to think, what's the situation, like you're telling them the situation. And then when the situation pops up in a game, they forget to retrieve it. And they're like, oh, right, so when the situations pop up unpredictably, it's a much more authentic way to train them for a game event. So that would always happen. That was a micro event. We went macro, micro, micro. And then we usually end with some fun game that was nearest to their memory on their drive home. Something, my guys love no takes, no foul balls. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted lots of swings, and then if they fouled one off, they had to go. So what I did there is they would all come in to hit, every single one, no shaggers. And then I would throw, and anytime someone fouled a ball off, he had to go out and pick up 5 balls from the outfield. So then he would be the shagger, and he would come and dump it in my bucket. And then that's how the bucket got filled up. Because if they hit foul balls, they went and got balls for me. And then anytime we got all the balls were gone, then we went and picked them up, and then we did it again. Right? But they liked it, and here's another reason why they liked it. They liked it because don't ever dismiss the value of talking to your friends at practice. Like we as coaches think, come on, spread out in the outfield, right? But there is this gravitational pull with baseball players because at that macro level, they want to belong. And you know what? It's awesome that they're teammates and friends. Like, it's awesome. So when they like slowly just saunter over to their buddy, us coaches go, spread out. You got to pick up the balls. But from this level, if you can telescope back, you can go, that's awesome that they're buddies, right? Like, Trent, you've never had a coach say, that's awesome that you guys are friends. Now spread out, right? Like, that's really what we want to say. But my point was, when you do no takes, no foul balls, they're all there together. And some of the best memories they make are just the jabs they throw at each other, literally just all hitting, because they can all talk, and I don't care that they're right there. In fact, that's where I want them. I want them right there talking to each other, blasting away. When you foul one off, now go pick my balls up, right? And then I turn around, and there they are. And sometimes you'll get dads go, you need some help? Yes, go. If you don't want to shag, shag. See if
Do they keep a running tally, like who's the kid that stayed the most pitches? Like I just knocked off 22 pitches in a row without fouling. And
no, once they hit, they're done. It's like horse style.
I got you.
Yeah, so they take a swing and then they go to the end of the line. So usually what I do is I split them into teams. So like sometimes I'll say, who owns a dog? And they'll hands go up. All right, all the dog owners go over here. Any of you guys, like, so then all the non-dogs. So if it's not even, then I have to spread them out. So we'll play stupid like dogs versus non-dogs, or how many have like an ant, that lives in state. And then if you have an ant that lives in Pennsylvania, you're over here, non-ants over here. So just some silly way to split them up. And then they compete, and then they're trying to win, So you can do birthdays, of course. The interesting thing with birthdays is there is a phenomenon. Most of your better baseball players are in that September, October, November, December range because of where the birthday sits. When's your birthday?
Well, no, because of travel.
Oh.
Because of travel, May
yeah,
1's the cut. So you're May, June, July, closer to the age group.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right.
The likelihood of a February, March, April.
No, you're right. We had, What's that?
It's the exact opposite for school baseball.
Correct. Yes, correct. Thank you.
I didn't even try out kids that had March birthdays.
Let's see if I had anything else. The only other note I had here in this danger zone is I said, it's at this age where kids start to drop out of baseball, and there's generally 2 reasons. They get the most common reason is their skill set doesn't match the demands. That's the most common reason. It's not burnout. It's literally that they're just not qualified for the demands, and that's okay, right? Like, we're trying to help you, but you're just not meeting it. The other one is, though, that they stop loving the game because they have coaches that always are here. They're always here, right? So you owe it to yourself to be flexible, to make sure that once those kids start getting good and start wanting to get good, every now and then you got to pull back. Just remember to love them. Okay. Any questions there before we jump into that last one? All right. So this last one, this is, I mean, this is where most of your experts speak from. Most of your experts speak from this micro approach, and you know, this is. I had a question the other day. Maybe, yeah, it was in here. It was about what do you value, tee work or batting practice?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I made the comment that where the position I currently hold, I believe that tee work is so invaluable, because with tee work, you can use your imagination. You can literally get in the box and you can see the pitcher, and you can see, is he right, is he left-handed, how tall is he, all of those things, and then you can use your imagination with the ball in flight, and then you can hit the ball. And the reason that's so important is because when you get to this stage, when you get to this really, really micro stage, you need that imagination. You know, and our brain is so darn powerful. It's the reason why we wake up in a cold sweat from a nightmare. It's because we can't discern the difference between reality and imagination. So what I'm constantly telling this micro group is, you know, if the only time that you get better is between the lines in uniform, you will always be at a disadvantage, because there are a whole bunch of people out there that are practicing in their minds all the time. So it's literally like they get 2 or 3 hours more practice than you, because they're using their imagination. Now, at that macro level, they don't even know what that is. Like they can't even fathom how deeply you can imagine. Their imagination is the world. Why do I need to imagine? Here it is for me. And then these people, you want them to imagine, but sometimes you have to teach them how to do that. Once they get down here, the reason imagination is so important is because they have to enjoy boring, monotonous, routine stuff to become great. Because no longer is it all about fun and games. In fact, it isn't about fun and games anymore. I mean, it's about growth. You know, so what I have written here on that micro level is I have growth of the game. Coaches become obsessed with making better baseball players. A lot of the other stuff is assumed. At this point, the organism has to admit he'll never reach the task, and that is such a profound idea, right? At this level, take the task, lift it. You're all good. Everyone belongs. You got a place in this game. Here it is. Doesn't matter your skill set. When you get into that danger zone, here's the task. If you don't meet it, you can't play. Now at this micro level, here's the task, and you'll never get there. You'll never get there. And that message sometimes is hard to hear, but it is a message they have to know. They have to know that it's no longer about being better than him or him or him. It's being the best that you can be, because your competition is the world, right? And this absolute growth is very difficult to comprehend at times. The reason why it's so challenging in that danger zone is because I think parents and coaches with perspective look behind them and say, I got cut from this team at this age because I couldn't do this. And young kids don't have that perspective yet. Young kids say, but I'm better than him, and I'm better than him, so life's good. And what they don't realize is you aren't comparing yourself to these people in the long run. So we as dads and as coaches say, don't you understand that your competition isn't in the uniform next to you or in the uniform in that dugout? Don't you understand that your competition is the world? Don't you understand that your competition is yourself? Like, you have to just improve, and you're never going to improve enough, but it doesn't matter, because the beauty is the game. The beauty is the game, and because you're never going to get there, that's such a relief. You don't even have anything to meet. All you got to do is just love the process and grow. And that's this. And I think that's the danger zone, because that's the message we want to tell those growing kids, and they're still so attached to pleasure and fun and love and comparisons and trophies and rankings, and we struggle with that.
Can you give some like age groups to what you're talking about? So like, I mean, I obviously that first stage, the big macro, like we got the 8s, the 9s, the 10s.
Yep.
So in that danger zone, are you talking like 11s
Absolutely.
to 14s?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
then your last stage is like your high school and up?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would even contend that many high school kids don't quite have that figured out yet.
Yeah.
But they're getting close. They're getting close. By the time they get to college, I think it's been impressed upon them pretty clear. I think the message is, you're never going to get there. You're never going to be good enough. There's always someone better. That's still okay. The game is the beautiful thing. We show up. We love the game. We don't need external influences. I don't care about my perfect game ranking. I don't care how hard I throw. I just want to be the best me I can be. Right? So, but that's difficult. That's a difficult message to tell a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old. Right? But it is the message that eventually they need to hear. You just have to be very, very sensitive. What I've realized is, in order to grow, in order to ever consider this, you have to be validated here. You have to know that you are on the right path. So many times we coach kids with the mindset that we're helping them because we're teaching them and we're giving them feedback to grow from. And everything they hear is, I'm not good enough now. I must not be good enough now. And then doubt starts to creep in. And then they never have the passion and the energy to even challenge this stage, right? So it is that, and that's why it's the danger zone, because I don't have all the answers. I just am aware that it exists. And many times when I'm coaching someone and I'm driving home a point and I'm looking them in the eye and I see this, oh no, I'm like, I better back off. This might be a little too much for him right now. And then there's some kids that you can look in their eye and they're like, give me more. You know, so that's a fine line. So and then I said, lost in the game, never know enough, absolute growth, and I think I made reference to that. But that is ultimately where the game ends up. Very, very. You know, if you're lucky enough to play college baseball, you get a taste of what that's like. Certainly, it gets magnified at the professional level. But all of us that teach baseball have experienced baseball more than our kids. Now, hopefully, they experience it further than we did, but who knows? But as a coach, you know, we get really excited about our team, and we like writing lineups, and we like thinking about the weekend and traveling and growing with them and being with, and just we love it. We love coaching, and it's fun. And then this is your perspective, and then you're going home early on Sunday, and then you're still here. You're still here, and you're still wound up, and you're disappointed, and you're still here. And then your son starts to hear a certain message because you're still here. And then your wife says, would you knock it off? You know, and it's not until you get home and you slowly started to back away that you go, man, geez, was it worth it? All that screaming and hollering, was it worth it? Look, I tell people there's two things that can pull me close. There's my family and there's Penn State football, okay? And those two things can pull me so close that I tend to have these out-of-body experiences, right? I'm trying. I'm getting better. I'm absolutely getting better. I am telescoping way better, but, you know, a referee throws a flag when it doesn't deserve to be flagged. I will go, whoo! And there I am, punching things and throwing pillows. And that's why this is so dangerous, because once you get down in here, you're the things that you know are wrong get said anyway, right? They get said anyway, and then it's not until you back away that you're like, you go into your kid's room and you go, hey, we got to talk. I'm sorry, like I'm sorry. I mean, I'm emotional and I care, and you know I care too. You know, and you guys know with kids, you know how it goes. But
I think what you're hitting on there is so huge, is because like you just talk about these different areas and like, you know, that early stage with the love of game, but like we try to send these messages in practice, but man, we can blow it in a weekend pretty fast, can't we?
Yep.
So like being able to hold true to those concepts when you're like, you know, hey, this is what I want, and I don't want to overcoach, and I know kids are going to make the glove errors.
Yep.
And man, that kid made a huge glove error at the worst time possible,
Right.
and you know, maybe I'll let my emotions get the best of me. Just how like our challenge is to be consistent to what our principal believes. So it's almost like you almost have to, in my mind, talk to yourself before you get to that first game and say, these are things I will do today, and these are things I will not do.
Well,
I will not engage that idiot coach when he makes a stupid statement, and I'm not going to jump on my kids for a physical mistake that is inevitable on something that we can't control, like the condition of a field or whatever it might be.
Well, there's two things I want to talk about with that. Write down Keystone Habit so I don't forget.
Keystone habit.
Keystone